The Tate brothers are the most embarrassing liars in social media history. The absolute goats of lying, second to none. Andrew has appeared on another podcast to make a fool of himself. Frankie Lee made the trip to Bucharest to take a seat in the Tate meat factory and let Andrew dribble absolute garbage for 3 hours unchallenged. We can add Frankie to the list of soulless degenerates with no morals who have assisted the Tates in producing propaganda for their ongoing human trafficking case, all for a bit of clout. Andrew embarrassed himself with ridiculous lies about their case, which can be quickly and easily disproven.
Model.
So where are you at with the case right now? Let's say you're at a pivotal point. Like, what pivotal point is this?
The Romanian judicial system is interesting. I can't pretend to understand it even after all this time. But we recently just got a very big ruling where the judge ruled that 80% of the evidence against us is illegal evidence. It was illegally obtained.
Absolute nonsense. Andrew is trying to tell us that 80% of the evidence in the 75,000-page case file has been removed. In reality, only 4 statements were removed. A statement from each of the Tate brothers from before they were charged and they were only witnesses in the case, and 2 victim statements to the court, which will be given again and aren't a big deal because both of these victims' detailed statements to DCOT remain in evidence. That is all the evidence that has been removed. This is the actual court ruling from that day which Tate keeps lying about. Feel free to pause the video and find anything that remotely backs up what Andrew is saying to prove me wrong.
Which means it was illegal.
Nope.
They illegally spied on us. They didn't have warrants. They didn't have authorizations. They falsified translations. They lied. The DCOT just lied. The whole police setup was corrupt. So that all that evidence has been thrown out. So as it currently...
Here's what the court actually ruled about the house search. That the arguments Tate's lawyers made about it being done incorrectly were unfounded. Literally everything he just said in that string of drivel was a lie. You're welcome to share evidence to back any of it up in the comments. And no, Top G told me in an emergency meeting isn't evidence.
Now, so as it currently stands, in the very simple form, is that they had a file, side 1, side 2, a bunch of evidence in the middle. The file still exists, but 80% of the evidence in the middle has been thrown out. So now we have to see if the file is strong enough to proceed, and from my understanding, it's not.
You mean from your childish lies it's not?
So what I believe they're going to do is take the first file and second file, mix them together, and just throw it back to a judge, just to waste more months of my life before a judge reads it all again and then lets us go.
So
this part is Andrew preparing his audience for something that actually might happen. Crayon Murders has been reporting for some time that according to his sources, it is very possible that the first and second cases in Romania could be combined into one massive criminal case including human trafficking and all the other crimes. In the long run, this could be a terrible result for the Tates, with them facing trial for trafficking dozens of women and children. The downside is that this could cause significant delays with prosecutors having to prepare this massive case. And what you can absolutely guarantee is that there will be a massive amount of spin and propaganda coming from the Tate camp if this happens, with them claiming that this means that the case is falling apart, all the evidence is illegal, etc, etc. Now, Frankie asks Andrew about how he got his start, being a sex trafficking pimp, and if he has any regrets.
Something.
do you have any regrets about the way that you closed the gap?
No. Absolutely none. 0. Because what did I do? I helped women optimize their platforms on a website. I mean, I lived in Luton. I lived around people who were selling drugs. Jay-Z sold drugs. All the rappers sing about selling drugs and killing people. What did I do?
We've heard this before from Andrew. He wasn't that bad. He could have sold drugs.
I've been attacked multiple times. There was a point in my early fight career where I was selling drugs because I needed money. Like I've had one of those lives where I've been exposed to violence.
So when I was 24, 25, I sold drugs. Long time ago now. I can be honest and open about my past. I was a fighter, but fighting wasn't paying the bills, sold drugs, whatever. So I'm selling drugs. I didn't really like selling drugs. I didn't like the anxiety. I didn't like the idea of getting caught. I didn't like the violence, the stabbing.
So I had a drug debt for $2,500, not even big money. And the guy was threatening me over text message, and I was trying to reason with him, buy more.
Girls were already on the internet talking to men like they are right now on Twitch, on Kick, on all the streaming platforms in the world. They're all sitting there in a skimpy little talk talking to men. And because I had better technical knowledge than them, and because I was pretty organized, could organize their accounts, I said, I'll make sure that your taxes are paid, and I'll optimize your HTML profile.
Now he's saying that he told the girls that he could make sure their taxes were paid. This is a new one. This is what Andrew would teach his students in the Pimping Hoes degree, where he would teach them his methods of trafficking women into webcam pornography.
Tax is also another important element for controlling your woman. You're not going to pay anybody tax because you're getting paid in Bitcoin. So you don't need to pay tax to anybody. You need to tell your girl that you're paying the tax. Because girls are lazy, and girls are stupid, and girls don't understand how taxes work. So the girl's working with you, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we've made this much money, but I'm going to pay the tax to make sure we don't get in trouble. She'll sit there and go, okay. Now that allows you to do two things. One, it's another control element. If I work with him, my tax is not a problem. If I do it alone, I have to deal with taxes. Taxes are complicated. So control element. It allows you to pay her a smaller percentage. So I used to pay my girls 30%. So for every $10,000 they made, I'd give them 3, and I'd keep 7. They thought they were on 50%. And I said that the disparity is because of taxes. So you're on 50%, but we had to pay the tax first, and then it's 50-50. If they say, why is it 50-50? Because I'm the one on camera. You say, because I'm the one typing, I'm the one with the property you're working in, I'm the one paying the bills, the electricity, I'm the one who's and the electricity and every other maintenance cost of this property. I'm the one who bought the equipment. I'm the one who knows what he's doing. I'm the one with the knowledge. I'm the da-da-da-da-da-da. Shut the fuck up. Go online. And they should be pretty happy with that if they respect you as a person overall. So really you're paying 30. You tell them you're paying 50. The difference is in the tax. That's where the disparity lies. Taxes. If they don't believe you or they want to get fresh or whatever, print out some tax forms. I used to do this all the time. I used to print out some random tax forms and say, yeah, sign here and sign this. What is it? It's for the tax. You want to pay the tax or not? Oh, okay. And they just sign away. They don't know what they're fucking signing. I'll throw them away afterwards. But they think something's happening. Something real's happening. Nothing's happening besides me getting rich, bitch. Anyway. So, tax is another important element to keep control of the girl. Does that make me a bad person? I mean, some people will say it does. I mean, you could argue that pornography is bad for society. You can also argue that the girls who worked for me saved men from suicide by just remembering their birthdays and talking to them for 12 hours when their family abandoned them. There's good and bad on all sides. The girls who worked for me became very rich. I became rich. They became rich. They saved a man from suicide, but perhaps it's bad for society as a whole to have all these young, pretty girls talking to men on the internet. What did I do? I turned women into millionaires. If you go work at McDonald's as a woman, do they make you a millionaire? Or do they take 99% of the money you take through the till? What did I do? So
Andrew Tate turned women into millionaires. We've seen him admit to defrauding women, like in the previous clip, and there are allegations of him taking 100% of some of the women's earnings. Now, considering exploitation is one of the elements required for human trafficking, it sure would be a problem for Andrew if he spent the best part of a decade bragging about doing this online. Oh wait, he did.
That's when the game starts. Now I need her to quit her job, leave her house, move in with me, work on webcam, do as I say, share me with other women, and give me her money. That's the hard part.
If you're interested in my website, CobraTate.com, I have the PhD course, which teaches you everything I know about women, everything I learned about girls in running my webcam industry. I've had over 75 girls work for me in webcam, and they gave me all their money, so I obviously know something. I think I have another thing that people find interesting about me is how I get, it's not that I just get females. How do I get females to comply? How do I get females to work for me for free and give me all the money?
Yeah.
And I think I get this from my job. So when I'll say pimping because it was webcam, but it was essentially what it was. When I was pimping, you'd pick up a girl, but if you get a high value asset, like a girl, because that's what a beautiful woman is. A beautiful woman's a high value asset. It's like having a Ferrari.
Yeah.
So if you pick up a high value asset, in the pimp game, you need to learn how to control her and retain her. You need to make her do as you say, and you have to keep her. And you have to keep her regardless, in spite of the fact that you cheat, you're busy, you take all her money, you make her do something she doesn't want to do, and she still has to stay with you.
Like, let's take away from cam. Let's look at street pimps. And one of my best friends, he's on my Instagram. He's literally a street pimp. That's what he does. He's a fucking $1 million Lamborghini from street girls. And you ask a street pimp how much the girl keeps, 0%. The pimp gets it all.
I created a system that allowed me to convince girls to do this, allowed me to retain 100% control of their income, allowed me to make sure they were effective. I learned every tip and trick it takes to make sure a girl gets paid. I know how to make sure the girl can't run away. Because once you teach a girl how to do this, she has the ability to make unlimited money from home. Why would she still give it to you? Why does she just run off and keep it all for herself? Why are you getting your percentage? I learned how to do everything to take a nobody and make her a somebody. I learned how to take a nothing, turn her into a cash cow. And betas from all across the world would be sending money into my bank.
So I took it. When I saw a girl doing webcam and she said, I can't work out how to make my profile higher on the page. If it's higher on the page, I make more money. I said, I'll make your profile higher on the page. You do the webcam, we'll split some money. I've done that. I haven't hurt anybody. None of these girls have ever talked against me. My current criminal case has nothing to do with any of those girls. All of those girls are defending me. I have no negative connotations or negative memories with any of these women. What did I do?
Embarrassing. Just an act of public humiliation. Andrew is trying to tell us that none of these girls have ever talked against him, that the criminal case has nothing to do with any of these girls, and all of them are defending him. If I need to explain this to any of you, you're pretty lost, but of course, the case is about Andrew, Tristan, and their female accomplices Luana and Georgiana trafficking women into OnlyFans and webcam pornography. If we look at the first case alone, there are 7 victims listed. Many of you may have seen 2 of them, Beatrice and Yasmina, post videos stating that they do not believe they are victims. But the other 5 out of the 7 have given statements against the Tates, saying that they believe they are victims of human trafficking and are listed as injured parties, which means that should the Tates be convicted, they want to be eligible for financial compensation. If any Tate supporters can recall Andrew and Tristan saying that no women have ever come out against them or come forward, I'm afraid to say they have been lying to you. In this next clip, we get some more sad coping from Andrew. He seems to have convinced himself that anyone who criticizes him for being a dirty sex trafficker is addicted to pornography and therefore guilty themselves. Just a delusional idiot.
So there's people who can sit and morally grandstand. There's people who can sit there and say, what Andrew did is wrong. But those are people who are just addicted to porn. The people who stand online and talk about how I'm a bad person for what I did are the same person who will consume pornography. If it's so bad, why do you consume it? These girls and me wouldn't have had a business if you weren't watching it. The men who were upset by the fact that I had a business that had women online talking to men are the exact same men who are on these websites trying to convince these women to meet them for money. They're trying to solicit girls into prostitution. And they're saying I'm the bad guy for setting up their HTML profiles. When anyone complains about the fact that I had a webcam business, if they've ever watched porn ever, which they have, they're full of shit. All these people are
Just an embarrassing, desperate fool. This next clip comes after Frankie asks Andrew if he thinks it's a problem if women are coerced into OnlyFans. You can see Andrew first struggle to wrap his head around understanding what coercion is, and then use mental gymnastics and lies to explain why his methods are not coercion.
Coercion is very subjective.
Let's just say the numbers are...
No, I know what you're saying. What I'm saying is that when you use a word like coercion and you're asking me a question, for me to be a professional, we need to quantify coercion. That's what I'm saying. Is it coercion to say to a woman, you can make a whole bunch of money on OnlyFans. I'll make sure you make a whole bunch of money. I'll help you make a whole bunch of money. I know how to make you famous and rich. Is that coercion? I'm not talking about me. I'm asking for you to quantify coercion. So I assume that they were forced via coercion. I'm asking, what is coercion? Is coercion saying you'll get rich and famous, I'll help you? Is that coercion?
On your narrative, yeah, I understand.
It's not about my narrative. It's not about me. It's not about my case. I'm innocent of my case. My case is about to be thrown out. I'm asking, is that coercion? Because what they'll say is, oh, I was coerced because he suggested it. Oh, that's coercion. So if I say to you, we should do heroin, did I coerce you to do heroin? Am I responsible for the fact that I mentioned heroin around you and you did heroin? So what does coercion even mean? What I'm saying is that certain words, buzzwords, can be used and weaponized by females to destroy accountability. And as soon as you apply it to the sex industry, betas and white knights will jump to the defense because they don't want to think logically.
Okay, there's a bit to unpack amongst all that garbage. Firstly, Andrew is trying to suggest that he recruited the women by saying you can make a whole bunch of money on OnlyFans and I will help you make a whole bunch of money on OnlyFans. And then suggesting that he is accused of coercion for suggesting OnlyFans. For anyone watching this who is confused or doesn't understand why what Andrew is saying is garbage, for many years, Andrew has been very open about the fact that his go-to method for recruiting women into webcam and OnlyFans was grooming and coercing them via a false romantic relationship with the intention of exploiting them in pornography. I do not have to drop an allegedly here because Andrew has been open about this and taught others how to do this in his stupid courses. And I hate to break it to you Tate fanboys, but this is a major red flag for an illegal sex trafficking operation.
Well, I wanted to be famous and I wanted to be rich and I wanted to talk on the internet and tell the truth. But I didn't cry when I went to jail. You understand? They're crying.
When was the last
They're
time?
crying. They're crying about the consequences.
When was the last time you cried?
I don't cry very often. I cried when my father died.
Guys,
Andrew wanted to talk on the internet and tell the truth. He says this directly before lying again about crying. This is a good time for a reminder about how Andrew described his not crying to Piers Morgan.
Did you get emotional? Did you shed tears in your cell?
I'm an emotional man. I think men are hyper emotional. We just have to control it. It's difficult for me to answer the question because it was an interesting frame of mind. I knew that God was watching and I had to perform. It's very difficult for me to go through life saying I'm the top G, I'm this, I'm that, and speak about mental resilience and mental toughness, and then the second I'm thrown inside of a solitary confinement cell, cower out. I'm not a coward and I'm not a liar.
No, but it would be perfectly natural to be emotional in that scenario, and there's no shame in admitting that.
I was emotional. I missed people. I missed them, and I knew they missed me. So I felt a strong sense of missing.
But you cried.
There were tears that ran down my face, but I did not cry.
I mean, that's crying.
I would disagree.
This man, on top of being a disgusting, self-confessed human trafficker, is by far the most embarrassing liar in the history of social media. We've never seen anything like this. For any of the Tate's remaining supporters who are starting to clue on to the fact that they constantly lie like little children, this is a good time to start thinking to yourself, what else have they been lying to me about? I recommend you take this line of thinking to bring yourself to look at the publicly available evidence in their human trafficking cases. You will quickly find that literally everything they have told you about what's happening in their case and what they're charged with has been a lie. There is no shortage of evidence that these people are disgusting, depraved, violent animals.